What's up? Hello, everybody.
He has to film.
Sorry,
Okay.
This is very surreal. Usually I'm documenting kind of things like this. This is the first time I've been recognized by one of them.
That's us on screen. Suck in a little bit. Okay. So for those of you who haven't watched your HBO series, John, How To with John Wilson, it's super unique and relatable. You guys should watch it. It's amazing. But very hard to put into words. So for those that haven't seen it, can you kind of describe what it's all about?
I was trying to describe it to this guy I met at the bar here last night, and it didn't go very well.
Should we show the trailer? You want to show the trailer first?
I said, I asked him if he'd ever seen that show Planet Earth, and he said no, so that was a bad start. But then I said it's kind of like Planet Earth, but for New York City, kind of like a study of, all the little things that you may not notice, in the kind of natural, in the urban environment,
Awesome.
But yeah, the trailer also, it does a lot of the work too, for people that are still confused.
Okay, well let's play that trailer and then we'll talk more.
HBO is having a hard time explaining what my show is, so I just figured that I'd just try to do it myself. Usually the host of a TV show is right in front of the camera, and you can see exactly where the voice is coming from, which I guess people like. But in my show, you never really see the host, and that's because I'm actually behind the camera the whole time, filming everything you see. So instead of having to stare at me for the whole program, you get to see all the cool stuff that I like to film instead, which I think makes it a lot more exciting to watch. I spent a lot of time walking around New York, trying to find the answers to some of life's biggest questions. Sometimes I talk to people that I meet out in public and ask them for their advice. Other times I'll just open up a door and see what's on the other side. And every now and then I leave town for a couple of days and explore what other cities have to offer. But at the end of the day, I always come right back. It's kind of like that show Planet Earth, but if it was only in New York and David Attenborough was forced to film everything himself. So stick with me, and I'll show you how to solve problems that you didn't even know you had. Because even if it looks like you've got it all figured out, there's always a million ways to get it wrong.
Yeah, sorry. Some of that imagery might be a little intense for 9 in the morning. But yeah.
Really funny. So let's start at the beginning. How did you come into filmmaking?
Yeah, it kind of started, I feel like the way a lot of people did is, when I was a kid, my dad had this Hi8 movie camera, and he got it for a birthday present, and I took it from him immediately and started filming every single day. I would just make a movie every single day throughout my whole childhood, and I never really stopped. I went through many phases. I started making skit comedy stuff, but then I totally stopped doing that because I don't know, I didn't really like it that much. But then I got into documentary, stuff, and that's kind of where I landed. I just love this format so much because I can kind of do whatever I want.
That's awesome. What was the inspiration behind How To with John Wilson as a show?
I think in like 2010, I made this movie called How to Clean a Cast Iron Pan.
Of course.
And, which is like a notoriously, personal thing depending on, who's, how you like to season your pan or whatever. It was like a 4-minute video, but it was mostly, like I was documenting my roommate at the time who never cleans the pan. And it was kind of a hit piece on my roommate just between us. Just to make him feel shame for not cleaning. But then, because he never cleans the pan in the end of the movie. But then, yeah, I don't know, I kind of fell in love with this format. I narrated the thing. That was the first time I had really narrated anything. And I hated the sound of my voice my whole life, and I always tried to disguise it and dress it up and stuff by changing the pitch or something, if I was ever making something fictional. But with this project, I just wanted to really just look at all the stuff I was super insecure about head on and just put it in front and center, which I think informed a lot of the way that the show is kind of structured.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I just started making more I just kept making how-tos every year. It would take me a year to make a 10-minute movie, and then I did it enough times that it attracted people with money, and then they gave me money to do this.
And speaking of money, you just got picked up for season 3 for HBO. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. What does that feel like? How's it been to be on HBO?
It's been really cool, but really strange. I don't know. It's before the pandemic, nobody really knew anything about me. I mean, I feel like most people still don't. But yeah, now it's when the pandemic once people started coming out of their houses, people started recognizing me and stuff, and it was very strange. Just in New York mostly. But yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. It's my physical body hasn't changed, but people's perception of it has, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's fame. I don't know. This is something that I'm still processing clearly. But I don't know. It's incredible. It's something I truly believe in, and I'm just so glad it has a platform that people can access it. I mean, I still don't have an HBO. They very early on in the process, I asked them for a HBO account, and they just said no. So I'm still using my ex-girlfriend's account, which is weird because she probably could see. It's I see what she's watching too.
It's a good way to keep track, I guess. Yeah.
I know. I feel it's just oh yeah, you're farther into the righteous gemstones than I am.
It's amazing. And you went from being a one-man band to HBO with a production crew, and did that change anything, or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, I was very much a one-man band. I would just shoot, write, and narrate everything myself, and I didn't use any diegetic sound just because I didn't have a sound guy, so I would just have to narrate everything because I couldn't get good sound. But now I have a whole team, and I have whereas I used to just go out on the streets every single day and just film obsessively and just harvest as much material as I could. But now I have 4 teams of shooters that go out every single day, and I kind of train them to think like me in this twisted way, and which is a weird kind of punishment, I think, too. And they have to, they basically, I give them a style Bible, with animated GIFs that say this is the kind of subject matter, this is the kind of framing I want, and they just pick it up really. They just all picked it up immediately, but also bring their own stuff to the table. So yeah, scaling up, it was kind of weird at first because I didn't know how to clone myself, but I realized I didn't have to worry about that as much because everyone was bringing their own kind of artistic stuff to the table, and they were I don't know, noticing things that I never would have noticed, and that I was really stubborn at first because I was no, it's got to be my way. This is it's got to look this way, but then everyone involved just kind of opened me up and made me realize that being so kind of single-minded about it is a bad idea, and it's you gotta it's like I've just been shaving my ego down a lot, since the beginning, and it's like I think to really good effect.
Well, and you have to let go a little bit too.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to let go a lot, because there's so many like parts of the operation you can't see, but like you just gotta have trust in the people around you. A lot of them were like really good friends I've known for a while, but some of them are new people. But yeah, it's been cool, and it's been nice to be able to pay people.
Yeah.
It's like that was the main thing that stopped me from like hiring or like bringing anyone else on before, was just because I didn't want to like not pay someone to do something.
Right.
Anyway.
Which is good. What does the visual style Bible look like? Like, I would love to have like a little glimpse into how you explain things to them.
It's like, okay, so, if there's I usually, I like to stay wide on each shot. I want there to be as much information as possible within the shot. And then also, like, if something is funny that you're filming, like film that for a little while, but then pan to something else in the environment, like that is totally unrelated. And then, so if you're filming a pigeon, then pan to a sign that says, free lunch or something. And then it may not make sense in the moment when you're filming it, but then in the edit, you can make some funny joke that kind of acts. I don't know, that's like the magic of the show a lot of the time, is that these jokes kind of write themselves in the edit, and there are the audience, I think, is like, how could you possibly have predicted that it would go from here to there,
Right.
But like so much of it is reverse engineered.
Very cool. And you said you hired some of your friends. I mean, how do you pick your team? Do you get to pick the newbies too?
Yeah, I mean, most of the people are just like people whose eye I trust. I mean, I feel like you could teach anybody to use a camera, but knowing what to shoot is like a different skill set entirely, and like knowing what's interesting. So, I mean, a couple of people I just found on Instagram that I knew were like really like that were kind of fearless and would just shoot anything.
Right, just take it on. Awesome. And I think it was Jimmy Kimmel who said something like, I hate to ask you how the show is made because you might ruin it, but do you want to dive in a little bit more? So you usually start with an unlikely topic and it veers into a totally different direction, like you said. So maybe we can share a clip or two and then we can dive into it.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, we can, yeah, also, yeah, I mean, yeah, hopefully it's not too early for this one either.
It's fine.
This is, yeah, I mean, I like to, in the back of my mind are the kind of rules of improv all the time. And, famously one of them is, just keep saying yes and like never cut off the conversation. Just kind of keep agreeing and see where it goes from there. So I take that into the work sometimes in this clip that we have here, or that's going to come up in a second, but like it's basically an example of like this is a one-note gag that I kind of wrote that turned into a travel shoot, like something completely different, because I just continued asking him questions and decided to go along on the ride with him.
Love it. All right, let's watch it.
So, state, location is everything when you're making small talk. You could pose the same question in two different environments and receive wildly different answers. You could ask a question to a philosopher.
Do you think mankind is going to make a comeback?
I hope so. If we can survive the perils of climate change, inequality, and the fantastic weapons of destruction we've created for ourselves.
But that same question might get a much different answer at WrestleMania.
Do you think mankind is going to make a comeback?
No, not today. He fell off too many Hell in the Cells.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What about mankind in general?
Oh, mankind, like, The whole world? I mean, it's not bad. It could be better, but I'm happy with my life, so.
What do you do?
I catch child predators. If you want to look me up, it's Mr. 17540 on Facebook. That's what I do in my spare time.
You catch child predators?
Yes, I do.
How?
I set up the stings online, and I Facebook Live them, and I go and get them.
Really?
Yes, sir.
At the end of our conversation, the gentleman invited me to his headquarters in Pennsylvania, and I figured I could learn something by heading out there to see him in action.
So, what's going on today?
Well, we're gonna go catch us a predator today.
Yeah? You have something set up?
Yeah, guy's 28 years old. He knows that I'm 15, and told him to bring condoms, and he's gonna try to meet me for sex.
But
Anyway, yeah, and then, yeah, we'll leave it there.
What? I now need to know what happens.
Yeah.
Which season is that, so I can go back and watch it?
That was the very first episode. Yeah, it was about small talk. And I kind of like, you know, I end up talking with him in his kitchen for a while as he's setting up this sting, you know, and he tells me how he makes small talk with the predators to keep them on the hook for long enough. So yeah, I like to look for advice in really strange places. But we never meet up with the predator to spoil. There is no, so you don't have to worry about that if you plan on watching the rest of the episode.
Got it.
The guy bails.
Yep. And most of your footage is shot in New York, but obviously you go other places to find interesting characters. But what is it about New York, and why New York? Was that just where you lived and fell in love with, or?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Long Island for the most part, but, you know, my family's from Queens, and we were always in and out, and I always just wanted to be back there as an adult. I've been there for a long time as an adult, and it's just like the best city for collage work. I mean, there's just so much material everywhere you go. It's like you don't even have to do anything. It's already there. Like, you just like that was what was so great is like I was so poor when I first like wanted to like start making these like movies, and this was just, there's like a built-in, like, but filming in New York, there's like a built-in production value, even if it costs nothing.
Right.
Like it just looks expensive because it's there, even if it costs you, yeah, like nothing to make. So that's kind of like was a big thing to begin with. But yeah, I mean, it's just like every block, there's just some image you've never seen before, and it just resets itself every single day. And that's, you know, why I feel like I'll never leave while, you know, as long as I'm making this show. But I don't know. Other cities offer a lot too,
Yep.
but I just don't know them as well, and I get scared in new places.
And you do an amazing job of exploring New York and finding places that people usually don't go to in some cases. Has there been one or two things that have incredibly surprised you along the way?
Oh, in New York?
Yeah.
Oh, gee. I don't know. I mean, I'm surprised constantly. It's like, I'm trying to think. You're putting me on the spot with this.
Sorry.
I don't know. There was a cool bingo hall I found recently. I don't know. Like, so much of it is it's hard to pick apart.
No. It's fine.
I mean, I find crazy characters every day that are like just like want to talk.
Yeah.
And that's the best.
That's awesome. And so talk about how you come up with themes for episodes. Is it you have an idea and then you go look for it, or is it you find the footage and then you reverse it, like, you know, like it's reverse engineered?
Right. I usually just start with the titles themselves and see where they go from there. So like, I knew I wanted to make a movie about scaffolding. So, yeah, and then I started with the title, how to put up scaffolding, and I just kind of tried to take it to its logical conclusion and just see where that went. So I studied, you know, like just scaffolding within the city, but then scaffolding in cinema, and then like all the erotic potential that scaffolding has. And
Never thought of it that way.
I know. I mean, there is a fetish for everything.
Yeah,
There's probably some hospitality fetishists here.
we can spark some ideas for you.
But yeah, I usually like to start with a very bold title. That's usually what excites me the most, and then I try to make the definitive movie about that, but then I detour inevitably every single time, which is like the fun of it, I think.
Yeah. And once you start looking for something, can you ever kind of turn it off, or is it always, once you have one of these ideas?
Yeah, I think once the new obsession begins, I turn it off. Like I don't shoot scaffolding anymore. I can't
You're done with it.
It's nauseating to me, and like even when I turn it off now, like people still send me photos of scaffolding like every week, and which is like fine, it's nice, but I just like it's a weird thing with like the shooters too, because like my shooters will get a scavenger hunt list at the beginning of each season. Like,
oh, that's fun.
One of them is like, like houses, like, buildings that look like faces. That would be one of them. And we shot the whole second season, and we had like a nice little montage of them, but they can't turn it off. They are still sending me photos and stuff too. So it is a weird thing, because like you train yourself to see something like in only that thing for like a year.
Right.
And then you just have to, the only way to dislodge it is to just put a new obsession in front of it, I think.
Got it. And then is that how you find groups and themes, by putting, these different obsessions? Do they ever kind of come together and cross over, or is it just very siloed?
I mean, when I'm interviewing somebody, I will usually talk about 6 episodes worth of subjects.
Right.
And then whatever kind of the spark, wherever the spark is with them, I'll use it for that. But yeah, there is a lot of crossover, and the themes do come dangerously close to one another. But I try to keep them pretty separate within the episodes. Like if one episode is about safety, or one is about memory, any interview can go into any episode basically, but I try to keep the subjects like pretty defined, I guess.
Got it. And the show, I mean, as everyone's seen, is like super funny, very raw, very authentic, which isn't easy. And what I love is that you have a gift of just making people feel comfortable and and they'll talk to you about anything, obviously, as you saw. So what is it, do you think, that you do to make people feel that way?
Yeah, I'm really surprised at that. Yeah, that's how it comes across. But yeah, I do, I don't know. I just like asking questions. I mean, that's just like the safest thing to do. I always felt like my stories were really boring, and I just feel like, and then I realized that just like, you can always learn more from just asking questions and talking about yourself, and that's like the experiment of the show a lot of the time.
Right.
Just like, don't try to force whatever my thing is onto it, like, because, when I meet somebody, there might be some like kind of initial kind of like soft judgment, like, oh, what's going on with this? This seems like a weird environment. It seems like a weird convention. What's going on here? But then, like, the process of the show is like me almost like working through my own prejudices in a way, and like, no, there's something here, and there's part of me here, there's part of all of us here, and like, what is that thing? Yeah. Like, instead of just like, oh, this is weird, forget about it.
And I love that idea of yes and.
Yeah, it's like, it's not something that like always comes easy. Like sometimes I do just want to quit and go home, or just like stop like making the thing. But I just have to force myself to just keep at it, because I know there's something there, and it kills me when it I feel like I've gone home prematurely and like didn't like go all the way with it.
Yeah, I feel that way too. Like you have that one extra question that you should have asked, or
Yeah, totally.
Yep. Gotcha. So what have been some of your favorite episodes? I know it's hard to pick a favorite one.
My favorite episode is called How to Appreciate Wine.
Ooh.
It doesn't have that much to do with wine. But it kind of has to do with cults in a way, but also like it has to do with mostly about energy drinks.
Oh.
And yeah, that's just like my favorite demonstration of like what the potential of the show has,
Right.
where like I just end up walking in the front door of the CEO of this energy drink company's mansion, and he just invites me in, and it's like it's just one of those like kind of crazy gambles that paid off in a weird way. But yeah, I really like that one. I forget if didn't I have some other clip?
Yeah, you have a clip. Well, you have the trailer, season 2. I don't know, do we have another clip, right?
Yeah, there was something else.
You do?
I forget what it was. What this one? Oh, this one is really cool too.
Very relative to this.
This one, yeah, maybe you guys this would be relevant to you guys. This is like an episode, my cat was scratching all my furniture, and I was getting really upset and looking for solutions, and I inevitably settled on plastic furniture covers, and which is what lands us at the title here. But then there's like a tiny section I'll show you about taste and like kind of what I feel like taste is.
All right, should we play it?
Now, a lot of people think that plastic furniture covers are unsightly and will judge you for your choice. So before you do anything you might regret, first you're going to need to be confident in your sense of taste. Everyone likes to think that they have good taste, but this is impossible. Because you can't have good taste without bad taste. What is beautiful to you might be revolting to someone else. And it's almost impossible for good and bad taste to peacefully coexist. This is what makes people who use plastic covers such a rare breed. They buy very dignified furniture, worthy of a showroom or a museum. But in order to extend its life, have decided to cover it with one of the most inelegant materials known to humankind. But at the same time, any lifestyle depraved enough to require a permanent shield against liquids is worthy of respect.
Okay, yeah. So then, yeah, that episode, it becomes more about, I do the furniture cover thing, but then it becomes more about circumcision at a point. I don't know, you gotta watch it, but I couldn't show you that. I couldn't show you that part here.
Look at stuff.
That's the number one episode that like people DM me on Instagram and they say like I watched this with my father-in-law and he hates me now. Don't watch it with the in-laws.
You must get some interesting DMs.
Yes, they're cool.
The last 2 years, what has that been like with COVID and what New York went through? Did you find anything else when the streets became quieter and a lot of people left and now they're coming back? But did that change your perception at all or change how you viewed New York?
Yeah, for sure. I think because I was finishing season 1 right when COVID started. and the kind of finale, it's kind of like, it's folded into the finale of season 1, like the whole like reveal that COVID was happening. But I never stopped shooting the whole time, and I felt this like, this kind of gravity, you know, like this weight, like that, and this responsibility, I think, to just capture as much as I possibly could in this very delicate moment in history where, like, there's so much confusion. I'm talking about like the week that COVID happened, pretty much. Like, there's this shot in the finale of the first season where I just film the grocery store line in my supermarket, and it's like, you know, it takes a minute and a half to walk the whole length of it around. It's snakes everywhere, but it's like nobody in line is wearing a mask. They're all wearing gloves, and like, you don't realize it at the time. Only in retrospect did I realize that, like, that, you know, that big supermarket rush was probably one of the biggest super spreader events, like, of all, you know, and we didn't realize it.
Yeah.
And only like through, I don't know, I mean, that's just, I guess, the power of documentary in general, but like, I don't know, I feel like New York looks so much more interesting now, like, than I've ever seen it in my life. And you know, you have all of these sidewalk sheds everywhere, you have all these people with all these homemade, like, devices that, like, shield them on the subway and stuff. It's tragic, but the city just feels so much richer to me.
And the trailer for season 2 shows a little bit of a different New York, right?
Yeah. So this is, and I made this trailer to, and I said some stuff that I already said, but yeah.
Well, let's show the trailer either way.
Hey, New York. There's a lot of stuff that happened since the last season of the show ended. You had to spend a whole lot of time inside and got really close with just a handful of people.
What?
You got really good at cutting your own hair and discovered exciting new ways to entertain yourself. But you still found a way to show up for work every day and treated yourself to a vacation whenever it felt safe. And just when you thought that things were going back to normal, the nightmare just seemed to continue. A lot of people thought that we wouldn't be able to make another season of the show. But we did. And it still has all your favorite stuff from the first one. New York looks more interesting right now than it ever has before. And even though you lost a lot of what you loved, it really made you appreciate what you still have. So don't be upset if you feel like you missed anything along the way, because you don't always realize you're in the middle of history until it's over. This is John Wilson. Talk to you soon.
I mean, I think the beauty of what you do is you see things with new eyes, and you guys capture things like the skier. I mean, like, that just.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes is it just good luck of being in the right place at the right time, or?
Yeah, that's the thing that terrifies me so much, you know, is like so much of it is just like, just down to the fraction of a second being in the right place or wrong place at the wrong time. It depends on how you look at it. But Yeah, I mean, I feel that way at the beginning of every season. You know, I feel that way right now. Like I just started production like this week, or pre-production, and it's like I know a bunch of crazy stuff is about to happen. I just don't know what it is. and I'm just by being out in the world, it will happen, but I don't know. I find it hard to articulate,
Yeah.
but it's scary and exciting, and I guess I'm just glad I have the opportunity to still do it. You know.
Yeah. Do you carry your camera everywhere?
Yeah, I brought it here, but it's up there right now. I was filming before. I mean, it's funny that some of you probably thought I was the staff camera person or something.
We'd be so lucky.
Yeah, I mean, that would be funny. It's funny, like sometimes I'll go through a whole interview with somebody, like I'll spend an hour and a half with them, and they'll be like, oh, so you know, so what is this? And I'm like, oh, like, they're like, who's the host of this show? And I'll be like, oh, I'm the host. I'm the host, that's why I was talking to you from behind the camera. And they're like, you can't afford a cameraman? And I was like, oh, no, it's like I actually prefer to do this. You know, I've always liked shooting stuff. And it's just, so I feel like half the time I'm talking to someone, they don't think that I'm the host necessarily. I think they just think that I'm a camera person that's about to lose their job. Like, because they're not usually supposed to talk that much.
That's amazing. And I love that you still use the little microphone.
Yeah, that's a holdover from the early days.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, I don't know. You just think about all like the documentaries in like this, you know, the 60s and 70s, like they were just so happy to have a machine that could pair image with sound,
Right.
you know, like, and then they did this extraordinary stuff with that, you know, like the Maisels and all them. And it's like, I don't know why it had to change that much.
Is there anyone you've looked up to or watched or?
Yeah, I don't know,
admire?
a bunch of documentarian types, like Frederick Weissman, Errol Morris, and Agnes Varda. There's a lot of like, just kind of like avant-garde documentarians that I like too, but I don't know, Ken Burns. I mean, the whole spectrum I feel like is inspiring.
And what drives you? What's the part that you love the most? Is it just the creative process? Is it the storytelling? Is it the people?
It's just that rush you get when you see the thing and you feel like you're the only person witnessing it, and then it's gone, you know? Like that is like a high I can't really get any other way. And I feel like that's the dragon I'm chasing a lot of the time.
That's awesome. Well, we wanted to share a few quotes from your fans, not to embarrass you, but yeah, I'm just gonna read them.
Okay.
How to with John Wilson was one of the best shows I've watched in my life. I wish I could live in a world directed by him. Thank you, John, for making something so beautiful.
Who was that?
Guys. Jill Cole. How To is one of my most original shows I've ever seen. Hilarious at some points, very touching at the end, and really bizarre most of the time. I might be in love with John Wilson and his marvelous creative mind. The show is just phenomenal. God, I love him and his show. So much footage with smart narrations that never feel dull. Everyone should watch his show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. People love you.
That's nice.
You have like a little cult following. I love it.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. Yeah, I really thought it could go either way.
You were saying you're getting used to your fame now. Do people come up to you now?
Yeah, I mean, people like literally shout at me from rooftops in
Really?
New York. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that at all.
Do you shout back?
Yeah, and you know, like, and usually like, yeah, someone will say hello, and I'll be like, you know, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, so you know, what are you doing? And then and that's when like they become a shade lighter, and they're like, oh, I'm just going to a friend's, you know, place. Like they realize that they probably don't want to be followed with a camera for the next hour. But I don't know. It's been cool. Like most of the time, like like during the second season, it actually got us more access like than I thought it would to different places. Like we were trying to get access to the Department of Sanitation. And at first they were like, I don't know, we usually don't do media stuff. But then someone who had seen the show that was a little younger that worked there was just like, no, you have to, you know. And that made me feel, that made me feel incredible. Like that it, you know, these people that are familiar with the show that like are like that trust the tone of it, you know,
Right.
Because there have been so many kind of Borats and like other kind of, like when people think of like comedic documentary, they think of often prank stuff, but I think the comedy within this show comes from like a deeper, more, I try to have it come from a deeper, more like relatable, like kind of human place where like the humor is that you see yourself in these people and that like they like, and that we share these kind of like these contradictions and like these obsessions. It's not just like a fishbowl you're looking at, like you're in there too.
Yeah, I love that the Department of Sanitation doesn't do media.
Not as much, but they gave me full like access. They were so cool. I got to go see all the trash.
That's amazing. What are you thinking about for your next season? I know you're in like, you can't give away all your secrets, but is there anything you could kind of share that you're thinking about?
Well, I find this kind of interesting.
Yeah. Maybe this could be part of it. You guys might be
I mean, you may have like, you may have summoned an evil spirit. No. I mean, I genuinely do. I've been thinking a lot about, like, you know, I have a lot of anxiety when I travel, and I think about very much the design of these spaces, and I'm actually like, I kind of wish I was spending a bit more time here, but maybe you'll see me in Vegas.
Oh, yay! That would be amazing. I know someone, if you need access, just let me know.
Okay.
Can help you out.
I would be on my best behavior. I promise.
No one is on their best behavior.
I'm like, okay, well, yeah, well, maybe that's an impossible standard. No, I mean, you know, just like the objects, like I love studying these objects, you know, that we all use, as you all do, you know, like that we use every day, but maybe don't think about.
Love it. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do a lightning round, and then we can maybe take a few questions from the audience.
Lightning round, sure.
Yeah, ready? Okay. So what keeps you up at night?
This noise. Like it's I don't know what it's coming from. I don't know where it comes from. But like other people in the neighborhood have been trying to figure out what it is too.
Oh, good. So it's not just in your head. It's
No.
actual noise. Oh my God. Love you. Okay. Where in New York have you never been and need to visit?
The Hole. It's like it's a neighborhood called the Hole, and it's where they keep a lot of the horses, and it's like on the way to JFK. I see it all the time, but it's the only neighborhood in New York that's below sea level, so it's constantly flooded.
Oh.
Really strange place, but a lot of people live there, and they keep a lot of horses there.
Has anyone from New York been to the Hole?
Has anyone been in the Hole? Anyone from the Hole? You been in the Hole?
Okay, just checking. Next to New York, what's your favorite place or city?
New Orleans.
Oh, you love New Orleans. Okay.
Yeah, it's the only other place I go.
Okay. Perfect day.
Perfect day. Probably just, I don't know, like going to the office to see all my friends to make the show.
Aw. Where is your office? Is it in?
It was in Dumbo, but I don't know if I want to do it there anymore.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, like I just. You can come to Williamsburg.
Yeah, I've honestly, that would be an improvement.
Yeah.
I was thinking somewhere lower Manhattan, somewhere like Lower East Side-ish maybe. It's just like a pain in the ass to get like on the F.
Yep.
Anyway.
That's why I said it makes sense. It's hard to get to Dumbo.
Yeah.
Okay. Bike or walk?
Bike.
Okay. Best advice anyone ever gave you?
Oh, wow. I don't know. Like, maybe it's not fake it till you make it. That's
It's not a bad one, though.
so yeah, something like that.
Okay. Quirkiest habit you can talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just spend like a disgusting amount of time on free Craigslist. Like just looking at like what people are throwing out. I'm on there like once an hour.
Okay. Do you ever go find the stuff, or are you just curious?
I do, yeah, a lot of the time I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool imagery on there, and a lot of the time people are getting rid of stuff because of like break up some stuff and they overshare. So there's like a lot of good, I don't know, also if you just like go on Craigslist and you just like, if you just type in the word ugly, all this funny stuff comes up.
Try that. That could be a whole episode. Okay. Let's see. Some of these I'm going to skip over. Sorry, Rachel. What were you like as a kid?
I was a little weirdo. I don't know. Yeah, I would make movies all the time, and yeah, that's like all I did. I just made a show called The Johnny Show, and I don't think anything's really changed.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
Is there one thing you want to do that you haven't done yet?
I guess I want to go see Jeopardy in person.
Oh. That'd be a good one.
Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know what your answer would be, but that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. I also want to see how The Bachelor is filmed. I feel like that is something, I want to be a fly on the wall there. I have ideas, but
You could be the next Bachelor.
I feel like I'm not like swole enough.
I love you.
Right?
This is the best morning. Okay. Anyone have any questions? We have a bit of. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Hello.
Do you ever feel like you lose a little bit of authenticity because you now have a team that is, you know, I know you were talking about thinking like you, but just authenticity in general?
Totally.
Will you repeat the question?
Oh yeah, he was wondering if I ever worry that I'm losing authenticity by kind of like outsourcing some of the stuff that I would normally do myself. Yeah, totally. It's something I think about all the time. It's like, it is weird. It's like once you think about like the kind of aura of like whatever the thing is, like you like to think that it's all coming from the same artist, you know, when you're watching, or when I'm watching something, that's like, it excites me when I know that someone is like, oh, that's like Spielberg has the camera in his hand for that or whatever. Like, I know that he's filming that. But I don't know, I started to think about it just more abstractly, I guess, and like think of the show more as a magic trick. And it's kind of like, it's just like a different animal now, and there's no way that it could exist without this kind of like team of people. So I just think about it as like a totally different thing. But like authenticity, yeah. I mean, like I think it's authentically the product of this team, I guess, and I think that's the best I could ask for. But yeah, that's something I might be covering.
Yeah.
Soon.
Cindy.
Do you feel after a few years of doing the show that you have more or less faith in humanity at this point?
Oh, more or less faith in humanity? Oh, I think more, yeah. I mean, I don't know. At least the people I'm talking to, like, I'm glad that I don't need to like, there's no politics really, like, no, like, direct politics in the work, and I'm just, like, I just try to wash it of that, because, like, it's just, you see that everywhere else, and I just don't want, I want this to be kind of like an oasis, like, kind of away from that. But I just have more just in that, like, people are willing to and want to like open up and and reveal all kind of shades of themselves. And again, it's a thing where I may see like a signed portrait of a politician in someone's house, and I just don't shoot that, and I just try to figure out what is what really drives the person, aside from the stuff that, all the other stuff that we talk about every day. But yeah, I don't know, yeah. So yeah, the answer is yes.
Any other questions? Oh, yeah.
Have you ever interviewed or met someone that you've become friends with or stayed in contact with along the way?
Yeah, she was asking if I ever met anybody that, or interviewed anybody that I stayed friends with or came in contact with or kept in contact with. Yeah, I mean, I was in the covering furniture episode, I meet this anti-circumcision activist, and I go to his house, and he does this very explicit demo for me. But
which is why you should not watch it with your in-laws.
Yeah, which is why wait until after lunch. But but yeah, he it's so funny. He he texts me all the time. He texted me recently of he sent me a picture of someone watching the show on JetBlue, just being like, hey, you got a fan on, my flight to, Fort Lauderdale or whatever. But yeah, that's I really love just keeping up with the people. I mean, so many just live in the neighborhood. There's this guy that taught me how to cook risotto. I see him all the time. He's always just or I see him at the gym or something. So it's I mean, I do have a lot of, I feel like I had a lot of social anxiety for a long time, and I like that, I can use this sometimes to kind of, to help ease, relationships and, and maybe give purpose to forming them sometimes, because I have a hard time knowing how to do that otherwise.
How do you pick the people, or do they kind of pick you?
Sometimes it's just I just roll up to them on the street, and it's genuinely as you see it, but other times we have to be a bit more pointed, and in the wine episode, I was trying to think abstractly about what it means to eat and drink old stuff, and then we found this guy who eats old military rations, from Vietnam.
Why? Why does he do that? Did he tell you?
I mean, I don't know why he does it. I think he tried to get into the military. He was so young. He's I think a little younger than I am. But I think he tried to get into the military. It didn't work out, and then he just started eating the oldest military food you could find. Okay. But we found him on YouTube because he had because he didn't have that many followers. He didn't have that many followers, and I feel he wouldn't have had the ego of someone with a big, because there are rock star old food eaters that are on YouTube, but I wanted to find someone that was a bit closer to earth.
Oh, yeah. Did you just Google people that eat old food? Is that how this happens? I still want to be part of this process
guys-
one day, please.
Am I the only one?
Anyone else ever Google people eat old food? Yep.
Well, hold on. I see a question back there.
Oh yeah, Julie got it.
Wait, hold on a second.
What's the strangest thing you've seen?
I mean, in the episode I made about parking, like how to find a parking spot, there was this guy just like who had his girlfriend's foot like fully in his mouth for a long time.
In a parking spot?
Yeah, because he was like waiting for the street sweeper to come.
Oh. That is a thing. People like sit in their cars and wait for the street cleaners,
Yeah.
and then they pull behind them.
Yeah, I mean it's it's a whole ballet, but yeah, I mean there's just a lot of stuff that like, I mean every single image is some outrageous thing that like, I know I breeze past every image, but each image has like actually a long story behind it, and that's like, you know, when people ask, or you know, if people want to know, I do like to talk about it, but I also just like just dipping in and out like as quickly as you can, like you know the shot with all the animals, like all those like donkeys at petting zoo in front of a like, I don't know if you remember, like in front of an apartment building, you know, that was just like this little girl at the beginning of COVID. Her parents just had a full petting zoo with ducks and bunnies and like everything just for her. There was nobody else around. I was like, I don't know, it was just so beautiful.
Yeah. How long does it take you to shoot one episode?
It's hard to quantify.
Okay.
I mean, it takes like about a year to do 6 30-minute episodes, so it's tough. They're all just folded into one another.
Yeah. Very cool. Lots of questions. Okay, go ahead. Oh.
Has there been anything or anyone that has had a profound, lasting impact on you from having witnessed it or talked to somebody?
Profound and lasting impact. I'm trying to think. I have a really hard time with like specific stuff. Just there's like so much. You mean like within the show?
Yeah, you've met somebody or seen something that has had just a profound impact on your life from having witnessed it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I don't know, within like the memory, I made an episode about memory, you know, and there were these people that were like, they had this Mandela effect conference for like, it's like for people that misremember the way that things like happened in a way. And I don't know, like one of the guys there made me feel not so bad about having a bad memory. He just said something about, I forget what he said, it was in the show. I don't know.
That lasting impact.
Yeah, it was just so memorable. I just like, yeah, if you can't, I mean, I tried to make an episode about having a bad memory to excuse any stuff like this where I can't remember anything.
All right, one last question because it's 10 a.m.
I'd like a microphone. Hi, I'm from New York and I have a question for you. What neighborhood do you live in and why?
Great question. I live in Ridgewood, Queens, and I like it. Everything is the right height there. Everything is no higher than 3 stories, pretty much. All my friends are there. Most of it's historically preserved, at least the kind of grid that I'm in, so I don't have to worry about anything changing too much. And yeah, I mean, at first price kept me there, but now it's like, it's just my favorite little part of New York. And yeah, I don't want to go anywhere. Plus, I just like bought a place there, so it's like, I think I'm kind of stuck.
Yeah, it's now home. Yeah, awesome. Well, I can't thank you enough. This has been
Thanks everyone
a
for
fun
listening.
morning. Thank you for being here.